5,000 years ago, one civilization quietly outshined both Egypt and Mesopotamia. Its cities featured covered sewage systems more advanced than ancient Rome would build much later. It planned entire neighborhoods on a precise, mathematical, grid pattern layout. Then within only a few centuries, this entire civilization vanished almost completely. No war. No invading army marched through its city gates. Just an eerie silence and a mystery that puzzled archaeologists for a century. This is the true story of the Indus Valley Civilization's mysterious disappearance. It's a story of drought and slow decline, not sudden violent disaster. To understand how it ended, we must first understand how great it truly was. Because this wasn't some primitive, forgotten, backwater civilization at all. Between 2600 and 1900 BCE, this civilization reached its dazzling urban peak. At its height, its cities spanned more territory than Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. Major cities included Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Rakhigarhi, Dholavira, and the port city of Lothal. Dholavira even featured massive stepwells and reservoirs to capture seasonal rainwater. Each city was built with multi-storey brick houses along perfectly aligned grid-patterned streets. Beneath every street ran covered brick drainage channels centuries ahead of their time. Individual homes even connected to this shared sewage network through private soak pits. At the heart of Mohenjo-daro stood the Great Bath, a marvel of ancient engineering. This large, watertight, brick-lined pool was likely used for sacred ritual bathing. Above the city rose a raised, fortified citadel, protecting its most important structures. Massive granaries inside that citadel stored surplus grain to feed thousands of citizens. This was a highly organized society with centralized planning and food storage. Its artistry survives today in two extraordinary and strikingly different sculptures. The dancing girl, cast in bronze, stands confidently with bangles lining her arm. The priest king, carved from steatite, wears a robe patterned with delicate trefoils. So how did a civilization this advanced simply disappear without explanation? In the 1940s, one British archaeologist believed he had finally found the answer. Mortimer led the Archaeological Survey of India from 1944 to 1948. During excavations, he found scattered, unburied skeletons in Mohenjo-daro's upper layers. Wheeler proposed a dramatic theory that captured the public's imagination instantly. He claimed invading Aryan groups had swept in and slaughtered the population. For decades, this violent invasion story became the accepted historical explanation. It offered a clean, dramatic answer to an unsettling archaeological silence. Textbooks repeated the theory for generations, cementing it in public memory. But decades later, new evidence would make that theory completely collapse. Modern dating techniques revealed a critical problem with Wheeler's original timeline. Harappan cities were already collapsing long before any Aryan groups arrived. The skeletons Wheeler found weren't massacre victims at all, it turned out. They were simply unburied dead, left exposed after the city was abandoned. Archaeologists found no mass graves, no weapons of war, no burned layers. The Aryan invasion theory is now widely considered discredited by modern scholars. If invaders weren't responsible, something else drove this great civilization to ruin. The real answer, it turns out, was hiding in the region's ancient climate, and in the difficult choices ordinary Harappan farmers were slowly forced to make. Piece by piece, researchers began reconstructing what actually happened here. Around 1900 BCE, the region's dependable monsoon rains slowly began to weaken. Rivers that once flooded reliably every year grew thinner and less predictable. A powerful tectonic event may have shifted the Gagar-Hakra River's entire course. That ancient river is sometimes linked to the legendary Sarasvati of later texts. Its water gradually shifted eastward toward the distant Ganges plain instead. Without that steady water source, Harappan farmland slowly began drying into dust. For over 1,000 years, farmers had relied on wheat and barley. Now those thirsty grains could no longer survive the region's shifting climate. So Harappans made a desperate agricultural adaptation just to keep surviving. They abandoned wheat and barley for hardier, drought-resistant millet and rice. These new crops yielded far less food, but needed far less water. Smaller yields meant the old large-scale grain surplus system could no longer function. Massive, centralized granaries that once fed entire cities were finally abandoned. Communities scattered instead into smaller, dispersed, clan-centered settlements across the land. Trade with distant Egypt and Mesopotamia slowed as surplus and production shrank. Skilled artisans and traders lost their livelihoods as bustling markets fell silent. By around 1700 BCE, most great Indus Valley cities stood completely empty. At Lothal, a small number of residents actually stayed behind after the collapse. But everything about daily life there had already changed dramatically. They built crude reed huts beside the crumbling remains of grand brick buildings. No one bothered repairing the sophisticated drainage or rebuilding the ruined structures. For decades afterwards, scientists kept debating what truly triggered this slow unraveling. In 2025, a major study changed the entire conversation completely. It was published in the journal Communications, Earth and Environment that year. Researchers reconstructed the region's ancient climate history in stunning new detail. They discovered repeated droughts, each one lasting more than 85 long years. One devastating drought raged for 113 years, from 3,531 to 3,418 years ago. That exact timeline lines up perfectly with the Great Harappan urbanization. This wasn't one single dramatic catastrophe striking the civilization all at once. It was decades of relentless compounding environmental pressure wearing the cities down. Fragile governance and mounting economic stress made the climate crisis even worse. Historians see this collapse as an early warning about human vulnerability to climate change. Slowly, one prolonged drought at a time, a great civilization simply faded away. The Indus Valley Civilization didn't vanish in one sudden instant of violence. It dissolved gradually instead, drought by drought, harvest by failing harvest. The Great Bath, once sacred and full, now sits cracked, empty, and dry. The dancing girl and priest king remain today, silent witnesses to that slow collapse. Their story is a warning about how climate stress quietly erodes civilizations.